So I was waiting online, and the boy before me went up, but then he was sent down within a minute, and I said, what happened? And he said, Prabhupada sent me away because my bead bag was dirty. So I thought, oh my God, oh Krishna, this is it. So Satsuma goes, okay, it's your turn. I went, oh my God. So I froze and I was really scared. I was thinking, oh my God. So I knocked on Prabhupada's door and I didn't hear anything. And I thought, oh, well, what do I do? So I knocked on it a couple of times, and then I thought, well, let me just go in. And then I went in, I opened the door and I went in, I paid my obeisances. And I thought, in my mind, already I made offense. Prabhupada didn't allow me in. I already started off wrong. This is, I already made an offense. So when I got up, Prabhupada went like this to me. And so I kind of went a couple of baby steps. And then Prabhupada was going like this to get closer. And so before I knew it, I was practically on his lap. And it was so intimate because Prabhupada was sitting on his desk and he had his Brahman thread on and his legs were up on the desk, and it was familiar. I felt like, I knew him. There was no heavy, like, oh, he's my spiritual master and it was relaxed. I was very relaxed with him, and he was like enjoying, just me being there. It was just wonderful. So, even though I was still nervous, it was really relaxed. Prabhupada made me relax. So his feet were on the table, and he was showing me. He goes, so you can do this? And he showed me with my hands. And I said, yes, Prabhupada. And then he said, so you're chanting 16 rounds? And I said, yes, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada gave me the mantra. And of course, I didn't remember. I was too nervous. And he showed me with his hands. And then he said, so you will chant this mantra 3 times a day? And I said, yes, Prabhupada, yes. And he goes, so you will chant this mantra 3 times a day? And I went, yes, Prabhupada. And then he said it for the 3rd time, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, he's saying it 3 times, and there's a problem. Prabhupada already knows there's a problem. So then I said, yes, Prabhupada, I'm going to chant, yes, yes. He goes, okay. And he was very, very happy. And then I was going to leave, and Prabhupada said, so what have you brought me? And his eyes opened up, and I went, oh, because at that point, there was no way I was going to give Prabhupada this, no way. He goes, so what have you brought me? And then I said, this, Prabhupada. And then he opened up the wallet, and he said, he looked at the oils, and he said, it's from India? No, he said, Spiritual Sky. And I said, no, it's from India. He goes, oh, India, nice. And he pulled out the $20 and he waved it around and he waved it around. And it was like, oh my God, I thought, he's acting like it's $1 million or something. The way he was just enjoying the money. Just because he knew what I was thinking. He knew I was thinking that it wasn't enough and that all the other devotees were bringing so much in Sankirtan, and that there was no way I could, So Prabhupada was so kind. He knew my heart. He knew what I was feeling, and he made it feel so good for me. He made it like I gave him $1 million. And then after, I just said, thank you very much, Prabhupada, and I left, and I was so satisfied. But last year, Prabhupada's festival time, I was telling some of my god sisters in Prabhupada's quarters the story. And it was so sweet to be in Prabhupada's quarters and tell the story. And then they were poking around a little bit, and they found a key. And they unlocked a drawer that was locked for 20 years. And in that drawer, they found the wallet with the 3 incense, the oils. So Prabhupada saved it. That's how sweet and kind he saved that.
At one of the Monday night or Sunday night programs or Monday night programs, there were guests who would come for that. It was another feast. Prabhupada spoke there. At the end of his lecture, he asked if there were any questions. One very old lady asked why. She was practically in tears. She cried out, "Why have you come so late?" She was really sad that she had missed the opportunity to take to Krishna consciousness when she was younger. And Prabhupada said, "Because you are so late." So on another occasion, that same question was asked by another old person. And Prabhupada answered in a different way. He said, when the question was, why have you come so late? And he said, because better late than never. So those stayed in my mind, that Krishna sends the pure devotee when someone's ready. And if you're not ready, then Krishna won't send.
A few days later, they had a large press conference in Berkeley. There were hardly any devotees there, and I was sitting right near the Vyasa-san, but there were quite a few, like 25 or 30 press people. And two of the questions that really struck me, and have always stuck in my mind, is they asked Srila Prabhupada, so, Swami, when you die, and he immediately interrupted them, and he said, I will never die. He said, I will live on in my books. And then they also said, so Swami, what is the significance of these big carts? And his eyes got really big, and he looked at them and he said, do you think that God should ride in a small car?
Two elderly ladies in their 50s asked if they could see Srila Prabhupada, and I was the temple president, so I brought them in to see Srila Prabhupada, and they were very respectful, and they didn't know very much what to say. It was kind of silence, and finally they said, Swamiji, we have been meditating for the last 20 years. They were thinking that Prabhupada would be very impressed. So he said, so what have you achieved by your meditation? And they thought for a moment, and they said, silence. We've learned to become silent. Prabhupada said, stones are silent for millions of years. It is not a very great accomplishment to become silent. So that kind of set the mood for that discussion.
Prabhupada was going down to San Diego for a big festival that Bhaktidas was putting on. And they asked for a couple volunteers, and I was just so, I don't know, maybe I was a Prabhupada groupie. I was just very attached to seeing Prabhupada every day, so I said, I'll go down and help for this festival. Got to do some cooking and gets a little bit more mercy from Prabhupada. So the festival was very ecstatic, and then they went, Bhaktidas had arranged for, actually I just remembered something, that Prabhupada had made a statement, and I think it was in regards to actually why Bhaktidas had did this. He said we should have a festival at least once a year for no reason. Just have a big Krishna conscious festival. It doesn't have to be a holiday. So we had this wonderful, wonderful big festival down there. And then he had arranged for it was a conference, not a conference, but Prabhupada was giving a lecture. And I think it was at a school. I just remember it was supposed to be something where the people were supposed to be the intelligentsia and, and it was an auditorium. And we had our big kirtan, and Prabhupada's looking at the devotees and encouraging everyone to dance. And then when the kirtan's over, it's very quiet. And it's very quiet. And Prabhupada's there in the front. It was like a little podium, those are called. And the first question that's asked, this woman stands up and says, why do you shave your head? And Prabhupada, in a heartbeat, he jumped and says, why do you shave your legs? So everyone was like stunned, you know, and there was not, you could hear a pin drop. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, we were all really scared. Prabhupada was very serious. And after a moment's pause, maybe a minute or two of silence, he says, better to have a cool head than cold legs. So everyone said jai, and it just kind of broke the ice, and the Karmis were laughing, you know. So anyways, that was all I remember of that lecture.